If your team is still chasing PO approvals over email, this one is for you. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a full purchase order approval workflow in n8n using nothing but Google Sheets, Gmail, and a form. By the end, you will have a system that routes requisitions to the right approver automatically, holds until they respond, logs everything to a spreadsheet. Let's review first our workflow. So we have n8n form. To trigger our flow, we normalize and generate the row ID, and then we append to the PO log. So we will be creating a spreadsheet that has a PO log, and then we route by amount. So if it's under 500, there is an auto approval process. If it's $500 to $2,000, we have the email manager for approval, and then over 2,000, it's for the director to approve. Let's start with the requisition form. So this is the purchase order requisition form. So the workflow that we have built today is assisted by n8n AI. We already have a workflow set up and we pasted it in the chat so that n8n AI will be able to create that flow for us. And as you can see, there are still things to do to finalize our workflow. So we will start with our requisition form. With the help of the AI, it gave us the basic fields that a purchase order requisition would have. And we'll use this, but if you have any other fields that you will need to have, aside from the name of the requester, the email, the department, item description, the amount, the business justification, then you can add here your form element. For now, we are gonna remove this one. Okay, we are going to use these fields to be our requisition form. We are going to test this trigger. So since we have triggered our requisition form, it opens up the n8n form. And we are going to test the following. We are going to first test the auto approval flow. Going to provide details here. All right, we have submitted our form. So let's go back to our n8n flow. As you can see here, n8n has detected our output from that form. Next up is to normalize and generate the row ID. So these already have been normalized in terms of from the previous form, since AI has helped us set up the custom field names for this one. Let's review this and check if there are any red text that might not be mapping to our previous output. So far, these are all good. So we are going to execute this step. Normalizing the data means that we are able to use property name for the rest of our nodes. So our next node is appending to a PO log. We need to choose the document from which our PO log is going to live. So in here, we are going to choose the sheet that I have prepared for you, which is the automations. And from this document, we are going to select the tab in which PO logs will be recorded. This is the PO log tab that I will be using to log and record the PO logs from n8n. We are going to choose that here. Just going to refresh that. So we are just going to select the PO log. And then we are going to map it automatically. If you already have an existing PO log, then you can log it manually. But if you don't have an existing PO log and you just created it, then you can map it automatically. So n8n will create those columns in your sheet automatically. So let us execute this step and see how that turns out. And then let's look at our automation. So as you can see here, all these information has been logged to our sheet. The row ID, requester name, email, department, item description, amount, justification, status, and submitted ad. So that's currently pending. And then we'll see where it routes to, and then we'll execute this step. So if you have any changes to your branching, for example, these are lower than 500 or greater than 500 for auto approval, it depends on you. So you can set up these routing rules, or you can let the AI help you with your rules. If you have more complicated rules, then if you already have that documented, then you can send it over to the AI chat and let it help you build your flow. So for now, our routing rules are, so let's say if we are going to change our route amount, we're going to click this one, route by amount, change the rules for our auto approval to be under 1,000, then manager approval would be 1,000 to 5,000, and director approval is over 5,000. The AI is going to work on those changes and update the rules for this routing. As you can see here, the AI has helped us with routing rules. So instead of under $500, it's now under $1,000. And then for manager approval, it's 1,000 to 5,000. And if it's over 5,000, that is for director approval. So let's go and execute this step and see where our previous form is going to route. Since that is 100, you can see here tabs for these routes that we have set up. Under 1,000, that would be auto approval. There is one output. There is no output for manager approval. And over 5,000 director approval, there is no output since this is $100 amount. So let's see. For our next node, that is our update status auto approved. And we're going to choose the same document, which is our automations and our PO log. So actually, we do need to map each column manually just for the status. We are going to say approved because we are going to update the status to auto approve. Instead of approved, we're going to say auto approved. Let's execute that step again. The column to match on is the row ID. Or we're just going to drag this in. There you go. All right. And these are the values to update. So we don't need to update anything other than the status. Let's execute the step again. And that is all good. Status is auto approved. The row ID is matched. You can see here, and as you can see here, this is already auto approved. So that's great. Our auto approval status is updating. Next is our auto approval notification. Let us update the Gmail parameters sending to look at the route by amount node. So we are going to use route by amount node to get these details. So we are going to send to the requester email. Since we already have captured the row ID from the previous node, we're good. That is green. Just open this one very big so that we can see everything. The item description here is red because it did not detect anything from the previous node, but we are going to use the route by amount details for that item. And we're just going to drag and drop that here, as well as the JSON amount. We're going to look at the amount and then drag that over there. Now the status is already auto approved. You may proceed with the purchase. Let's look at how that looks like when the requester email has received the email of the purchase order being auto approved. Your purchase order request has been automatically approved. Request ID, item, amounts, and the status. You may proceed with the purchase. Let's close that. Let's now try and check for email manager approval and director approval. So let's test just one since Manager approval and director approval is very similar. We send the email to manager or the director, and then we wait for their response if it's approved or not, and then we update the status whether it's approved or rejected, and then we notify if it has been approved or if it has been rejected. So let's try one. Let's try a new data. So we're going to unpin this one and we're going to submit a new data. So in the background, we submitted another form and we're just going to pin this one so that this will be the output for our testing. As you can see here, we have requested amount of 3,400. So we're going to normalize and generate this one. Same thing we did earlier, and that's all good. And it's appending to PO log. Let's execute the steps and see how that looks like for a new row. See? It will add to the same column because we have normalized our data, and it will just detect the column names and see if it matches. So this is PO manager approval needed, and then need replacement for a printer inkjet, and the status is pending. Up next is the route by amount. Let's execute that step. And as you can see, under 1,000 we don't have anything, but we have one for manager approval. So we can click these nodes here, email manager for approval, and since that is the second node, let's click that. Let's check if everything is in order. If there's anything red, then we need to replace that. But since we already have all of these data from the previous node, then we are able to send that email over. And then the manager has actions to approve or reject. You do need an email to send it to the manager of whoever approves the purchase order. So once we've sent that email to the manager, then we are going to wait for the manager's response. So as you can see here, I have received the PO approval required email for this purchase order. And there are two links, to approve and to reject. So there were some issues with the email approval, and we have used AI to help us fix these issues. So we've provided enough context and they were able to provide a fix. So let's execute this workflow again, and this is the same flow to go to the manager approval. So we are expecting an email and we just received it, and we are going to click approve. And it says the workflow has started, that the webhook has received data from that click of a button that we did. And we are going to let's just look at the query, because that is where our action is, and you can see here approved, so that is good. And we can check the manager decision here. This is the node that checks the decision that the manager did, and this is querying the action, the one that we saw earlier under query, and then action, that is approve, is equal to approve. So since that is equal to approve, it goes to the true branch rather than the false branch. The false branch is the reject branch, and the true branch is the approve branch. And it updates the status to approve within our Google Sheets account. So this was the latest PO request that we did, which is now approved. And then it notifies the requester that this has been approved. Let's look at how that looks like. Purchase order approved. Your purchase order request has been approved. Request ID, the item, the amount, and then the status. The purchasing team will proceed with the order. Let's close that. And so we have tested out the happy path that we have for the workflow. It will do the same if the manager has rejected. It will go to the false branch, and then it will update the status here to rejected, and it will provide a rejection email. If you have other questions for us, let us know, and we will do our best to provide you the support that you need. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more automation tutorial videos. Thank you so much, and see you soon.